Alrighty. I'm here showing off my UV maps, the best I was able to pull off for the, I think, 4 or 5 days I tried to work on it. I'm going to be honest, UV mapping is not my forte. I am trying really hard to learn the best practices for it. I understand the basic concept is where you're trying to basically take your three-dimensional object and basically cut it up so that way it could fit kind of origami style on a piece of paper. I was able to successfully do it with this little cushion here where they're all connected uh, but separated, so that way I can add the specific texture for that. I'm not sure if this class wants me to shrink this down so that way it fits on one of these tiny squares for texturing, or if it's like one UV map for each object that I've done. So just to be safe, I've done it for each object, and I can go back in, rescale it so we don't have any overlapping issues. But I was able to fit each and every single one on one UV map itself. So for this one, all I did was it's basically still a cube with just a corner, so I just did a very basic cut and a kind of like an automatic square thing. And I looked at it and I was pretty satisfied with that one, so there's not much to talk about here. Same with the books here, if I can move my mouse here. With the books, it's just a simple cube with different things extruded, and each one's basically the same but flipped upside down. So I'd have to go in and texture a specific way, but it's very simple. The bookcase was the second hardest, in my opinion. I decided to, it took me like 4 or 5 attempts, but I ultimately decided what I did for the chair was just to cut all the edges onto it and then separate and organize it by similarity, which is what I've done with both the chair and the bookcase. So it is a mess. I'll admit it is a mess. I'm trying to figure out the best way, but with this chair in particular, it was one of the hardest shapes I've done. So I'll need more practice for sure. But just for this week, just as simple as I can. For example, this cube, what I would do would be I would cut it in specific ways and then orient it by size because you don't want super stretchy marks here. That's what I was going with this. Was this is the best way I could figure out how to do to get all of them the same size, the the texture size on the chair. I don't know if you can see that. I'm doing this one-handed because I'm holding my microphone. But I know there's a better way to do it, and I will keep practicing to get the better way. But that's what I did for these past 2 weeks. I know that it was like 2 to 3 objects, but I count this as two because it's two big objects using multiple parts or sections. So, yeah.